So a couple things administratively, when you're on Zoom in a webinar, if you will go ahead and click, if you have any questions, you can use the chat feature at the bottom or the Q&A feature as well. So either one, both Vinny and I will be able to see those. And so I want to welcome you to our 6th training session this week. It's the last one that we have scheduled for now. We'll probably do some more next week and then the week after, and maybe for the next month to get people all acclimated to the new platform. So a couple other items to address. We've been asked a couple times, why are we doing this? And bottom line, QuickBooks raised our prices to a point over 350%, to the point where we wouldn't be able to support our actually staying in business. So that's the primary reason that this is moved, that we're moving over. That said, though, if what you see does not appeal to you and you would like to stay with QuickBooks Online Payroll, you may do that. There is a caveat, and that caveat is if you choose to stay there, then Vinny and I will no longer actually be your point of contact or the folks that you'll go to for support. You'll go directly to QuickBooks themselves, use their chat and phone functions, and they'll help you over there. If you would like to stick with Vinny and I, which we would very much like you to, we're going to go over to the Wholesale Payroll platform, and we'll be moving everybody in the state of Florida essentially by the end of this month. We have moved quite a few over already. And as that happens, you will receive an email that lets you know that you are now in control. When that occurs, you may or may not receive a secondary email with your user credentials, depending on the timing of when that happens. The automation for those emails to go out has not been turned on. So give us a few more days, and I'm sure that's, we're moving 21 more of you over tonight. And then over the weekend, we're going to move a bunch. So come Monday, you may have 2 or 3 emails from us in regards to how to access the new system. Okay, cool. All right. So I want to talk about really quick what that migration looks like. Currently, you're all on QuickBooks Online. We will be migrating your company setup, your employees and their setups, and the complete history that we have in QuickBooks Online. That will come over and be available to you in the new platform. That said, there is a piece of information that we are unable to acquire, and that is your employees' direct deposit information. So to help facilitate obtaining that, there are essentially 3 ways to get that information into the new platform. So QuickBooks just doesn't make it available for anybody to see once it's entered in, and we don't generally keep a copy of your, if you've sent it to us, we don't really keep a copy of that information because it's very sensitive. So we tend to get rid of it as soon as we're done with it, and we put it into QuickBooks. So the 3 options are, you can gather that information yourself, and you'll see how you can update that here in a minute. You can wait for the employee to receive their email, and they can log into their portal and they can update it themselves. You'll see that as well in just a minute. And the 3rd option is right here. And that is TruPayroll.com/employee. And if you provide that to your employees that are using direct deposits, only for your direct deposit employees or contractors, they can put their information in right here, and they'll tell us which business or businesses that this applies to for them in their payroll. So if you have, because down here on Marco, there's several employees that go across several of our clients. So they'll just put in however many businesses that would they'd be working for that we would need to know about. Okay, so that needs to happen as quickly as humanly possible. If you don't get that information, or the employee is slow in sending it over to us or you, it just means that they're going to be defaulted to receiving a paper check until such time as they update that banking information. All right, any questions on that before I move on to the next part? Okay, we'll keep an eye on the chat and the Q&A. So where we go to log in, there are now on the TruPayroll page 2 different logins. The employees for the moment still go over to, if you're still on QuickBooks, go to the workforce, and then you actually log in here on the QuickBooks Online Payroll login. When you receive your email, and some of you may already have, then you're going to click TruPayroll and go to the employee login. And when you click on that button, it's going to take you to a page that looks like this, fairly generic looking, but yet still kind of nice. And the email and password that you receive is what you'll put in here, and then you'll log into the new platform. And we'll see what that looks like in a second as well. What I want to, before we go look at that, I want to talk about ways that you can still reach out and get support from Vinny and I. Of course, texting is always going to be a really solid way of getting us quickly. If you have a request that you need help on something and it's not an emergency, then you can use the TruPayroll.com/support, and it's also available right here on this by clicking this link. You just fill out this information, hit submit, and we get alerted via email and our ticketing system. And some of you have already experienced this. You'll receive an email when that's submitted with a ticket number. And then as we work on that ticket, you'll see the progress, and we may send you notes through that system as to how things are going, or updates and whatnot, or additional questions we may have. Of course, you can still call us. You can, phone, text, and the support line, or the support ticketing system here. Okay, that's the segue into the next section, which is, again, once you put in your email and password, it's going to take you over to the new system. I've got a sample company. Some of you are going to recognize that name. And yep, they're a client of ours, but all the information we're actually going to see in here is all fake. So we're not giving away anybody's private information. This is a demo. I'm going to continue on with the support channels really quick. If you're in the new platform, you can click on this little chat bot down the bottom and then send us a message, which typically we get, we can respond to within a few moments to minutes rather. And currently, some of the folks at Wholesale Payroll are actually helping to support us with this transition. And yep, so actually there's a leftover message that I have from 17 weeks ago. That's kind of funny in the intercom. So you can use that. And let's see, I'm going to close this for a second. We also have a little lifesaver. Life preserver. So if you click on that, you can ask a question, report an issue if you were seeing something technical, request a feature. If there's something that you'd like that we don't have, or something you'd like to see modified that's already there, you can request that update. Okay, I'm going to go right back to this and go to the employer dashboard. So this is basically what you'll see when you log in. You have all of your workers. So to help you understand, this platform does not distinguish between contractors and employees at this stage. Everybody's considered your worker. Inside of there, you can designate whether they're contractors or employees. The process in here, you can use the same pay screens to pay everybody all at once. You don't have to go to 2 different locations, which I find very, very helpful. Then your company profile is here. And that's just your basic information about your business. So your bank information and if you have things that you'd like to upload and have stored securely for you that are business related, like your IRS CP 575 letter, which is your tax ID assignment, you can upload that if you want to. It's here for you. Use it, don't use it, totally up to you. All right, and then we have our company settings. And so this is where we're going to, now most of this work Vinny and I will have done for you, or that it will come over during the migration, but it's just something to be aware of, that it's here if you need to make changes, particularly with 2 things. The bank accounts. If you ever need to update your bank account, you no longer have to contact me or Vinny. Typically, Vinny's been working with all of you on updating those. You can literally go in here and change them yourselves. It is a little bit different. We give you the flexibility of having more than one bank account from which your payroll related activities can come from. You can see we have one for employee payments. So that would be their net check, whether it's a check or a direct deposit. The fee that you pay to TruPayroll, that can come out of yet a different bank account. So if I remove it from here and add that, we'll see that I can add a second bank account for the fee. Same thing goes with tax payments and contractor payments. So you can have up to 4 accounts for each of those major categories of expenses within your payroll for your company. If you don't want but just one, then that's fine. Everything will happen out of that one single account. Any questions on that? Again, if you have questions, you can type them right in, and we'll either answer them pretty much right on the fly, or when we get to a particular section, we'll talk about that. The other, there's 2 more that I really want to talk about. Now, there's a lot in here. I cannot get to it all, so I keep going over here to my left because that's where the other screen is. If you have specific questions about some of these other things that you might see in here, we can schedule those up and get your questions answered. But pay schedules. So these will come over and they'll be available from day one when you log in. The pay schedules that you have now will be here. If you ever need to modify those or add new schedules, then this is where you would go to do that. Okay. Then the next one is what is called in the wholesale payroll platform are earning codes. Those are the things that you're going to pay people, whether that would be, and we look at the categories, whether that's going to be bonuses, cash tips for some of you here that have restaurants, commissions, your hourly pay right here, salary pay is this is all alphabetical. There you go, salaried here. For some of you on this session, you're an owner of an S Corp and you have health insurance that you're paying through your business that needs to get on your W-2. That's now, there's a spot there for that. If you have any reimbursements that you're going to employees for mileage or phones or whatever, if they happen to go buy supplies or something, then that's what's called an earning code. You can call it whatever you want in terms of the description. There is no predefined labels. You'll see that here in a second when we look at the payday experience when you go to pay your folks. And you can have as many of these as you need or want. All right, so again, any questions, please put those in the chat and we will answer those. I'm going to go one other one on deductions, garnishments, and contributions. These are things like health insurance, 401k for deductions and contributions. And then for garnishments, these are things like if somebody's had a court case and they've lost and they owe consumer debt or something like that, tax liens and levies, and then child support is here, and then any other type of legal garnishment that might be out that's not one of these 3. And so you can have as many of those in the current platform. I believe QuickBooks and even the previous one allowed only 2, and then it got a little wonky. Here, you can have as many as that employee. I know in our portfolio, I think we have one employee that's got 4 or 5 child supports. So QuickBooks can't support that many, we can. All right, so that's about it for there. Again, I'm going to be running through this fast because we have a limited time. If you have specific questions, particularly as you get into using this, then I think what we'll probably do is maybe a couple town halls as well. So we'll just have people come on in an open forum and just let questions fly, and everybody can discuss it. QuickBooks exporting right now for your accounting, we can export to QuickBooks Online. So you're not going to lose any of that functionality. And QuickBooks Desktop, if you're using Xero or another accounting program right now, like FreshBooks or maybe Zoho Accounting, we're not currently supporting that. However, those will be coming along in the next 6 to 12, maybe 18 months. If you have a workers' comp policy with us right now, that is something that will transfer right over. That would be through Next, formerly called AP Intego. Your submissions will continue to go in. They'll have a payroll broker change of record on their end so that they'll know that it's no longer coming from QuickBooks, but it's coming from us. And so no problems there. You won't have any hiccups. That's about all I'm going to go over right now for the company settings. And so now we're going to go right back to our dashboard. And I kind of have a list of things I'm running through here. Cool. The employee list, that's where we're going to go actually. So again, this is all fake names, fake socials. You can see it's all example type emails. But this is where you can see everybody, just your employees or just your contractors. And of course, in the sample, you can see we don't have any contractors. And then you can define that you want to see everybody, active or inactive. And then we have this other category called archive. That category exists for employees or contractors are never coming back again. So they're gone for whatever reason, whether it's a total falling out or maybe they passed away and you just need to archive them. They're never gone. They're never deleted. They're just put into that kind of, like the box says, right? We're just going to put them in the basement. We're never going to have to pull them out again. And if you need to edit an employee, you just simply click on their name. And we have two different places. The first place is going to be their details with the employment that they have with you, and then their overall profile information. An employee does have access, and we'll see that in a minute, to modify some of this information, particularly, and we're going to go to their details here, their bank information. So they can update that. You no longer have to manage that function or no longer have to have them send it to us. You and or your employees can actually, or us, can go in and modify bank account information relatively easy. We'll see that in just a second as well. So you have their W-4s in here and what they're making with your company, if they've got any deductions or contributions, those kinds of things. If you have a time off policy for them, all that can be tracked. And we have a section here, just like the company, if you have files or documents or images that you want to save that are pertinent to that employee, such as their driver's license or social security card, you can use this kind of as a little bit of an HR system for that record keeping. It'll be held securely for you here. We have, we don't talk about it much, but we are what's called FIPS 140-3 compliant, which is the highest rating of security that can be deployed in a computerized system online, as rated by the Department of Defense. So we're the only payroll company that I know of that has it. So that's actually kind of cool. Proud of that one. You can change how they're getting paid, whether it's direct deposit or paper check, change their pay schedule. Not sure you'd change the start date unless they left and came back. If there's a job or title role, you can put that in. Doesn't really do a whole, doesn't do a whole heck of a lot. Then you can actually see their paycheck history as well. All right, I'm going to go back to our dashboard. Next important thing, how do you run a payroll? There are three places when you log in that you can do that. You can click on payday here. You can click on payroll is either current or past due, depending on the timing of when you're logged in. And you can click on this quick launch, running a payroll. I'll come back to adding a worker in just a second as well. So running a payroll is pretty straightforward. Pretty much looks like everything you've ever used thus far with us, whether it was in the old system, QuickBooks Online, or now here. So when you click it, the only thing that is of utmost importance, as has always been, make sure you're just in the right pay period with the right pay date. Those things are connected. So just be sure that you've got the right, and because why I say that is because when you're in the live functioning environment, you could have one or two currents, you'll have 4 past, and you'll have 4 future. So you just want to make sure that you're in the right one. Okay. And let's just do a sample. So this one will pay Tyler, we'll pay Amanda, whoop, not 100, but 10. These are hours in this case. And let's see, let's go Rick. We've got 5. And we can hit the tab button and go across, and you can change how you're going to print them. I'm going to leave this just as it is. Jesse is pre-populated based on a setting in her profile that she's got 40 hours coming every week. And then, oh, there's me. I only worked an hour. I'm a slacker. So let's just pay me $1. And then we've got Kim, who's at 40. So the other thing to note here in our payday experience, unlike QuickBooks, right now we're seeing QuickBooks had that regular pay. So this is here in the demo because we want to talk about it. That was kind of an anchor. You always had to have something in that field in the employee setup, whether it was a penny or that was the rate that you chose to use. In this platform, there is no such thing. You can mix and match, and one person can have something that the other person doesn't. And like we're seeing here, if somebody doesn't have that rate, there's no field entry form available, right? The box doesn't exist. You have the little blue dot that lets you know that that's available to enter for that particular person. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and calculate a payroll. We'll preferred work location. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to do this because I know I was messing with this earlier. I'm going to just pay these two people because I know that that one works. So one of those employees doesn't have their setup quite done in the demo. So you'll enter it and go through it. So if you receive an error like that, it means that there's just an employee. Those error codes are going to get more detailed over the course of the next 2 or 3 months so that you can actually click a link and take you to where the source is so that you can resolve it. But it's the same similar process. After you enter, you come to a screen where you can approve, right? And if you need to view a check, you just click it and it'll pop up. It'll give you the basics of it. The demo environment's not calculating taxes, so we're not seeing that in here. But rest assured, in the live side, it is definitely doing taxes, and we've been processing some payrolls for the last 2 months now. So, and that's all going really well. Then you'll click to approve. And if you need to print somebody's, because they are, the print all function will go live April the 3rd. For now, we click on the print button and can be a little bit tedious between now and then for us. But by the time most of you are on here, that print all will work. And then you just save it. And I'm not going to do that because I have it down here. If the person is a direct deposit, this is what you'll see. If it's a real check, it'll print out like a real check, and the check numbering will be what you want it to be versus all these 9s and whatnot. And to that point, if you'd like to print checks yourself, you can use a blank check stock, or you can use a pre-printed style. So depending on where you get that from, whether your bank or online, or if you want blank check stock to print locally for yourself, we have a special arrangement to get bulk pricing. So you can just contact us and we can actually provide that style paper to you, because then you can actually just print this right out from your office or business. Okay. Then we'll hit continue. We'll save and complete it. And then you'll be prompted. Yep, that's just a demo error. Then you'll be prompted to actually export that payroll. So whether that is online or whether that is desktop. If it's online, it's going to push it right to your QuickBooks account online. If it's desktop, it's going to create the same IIF file that everybody uses. And then you save that and import that into your QuickBooks desktop file. And that will come in, each person will have its own check. You'll have all that detail like you do now. Okay, cool. Any questions thus far? I've got about 6 minutes left. What I want to do is go back to I'm going to go back to this company screen. We're going to go back into our sample. And I'm going to go ahead and click, I want to add somebody. So now I've got somebody new. And we're going to, depending on what it is, are they coming in as employer or contractor? The process basically works the same. And I'm just going to put in a generic blah, blah, blah.com. If that email actually exists in the overall wholesale payroll platform, it's going to trigger an email to go to that person and say, hey, Hoots would like to hire you. Do you accept this position? Or, do you accept that employment? If they click yes, then you as the employer will get to this screen with their information pre-populated. So you don't have to physically sit there and do it. So if that person exists and accepts that they're coming to work for you, then all that's done. In the next several months, if the person doesn't exist, like we're seeing here, you'll have your choice, one of two choices. You can either fill it out for them because they're sitting right there, they give you the information, or you can send them a text or an email where they'll be able to go in and fill out their, what we call their demographic information, so that you're not having to do it yourself, including uploading their driver's license, social security card. So we'll just put in some information here, make them young. There we go. Again, I'm just putting in generic information. Obviously, you want to put the real stuff in, and you can put emergency contact stuff. So it's got a little bit of HR, not a lot. Then you're going to put in their address. This uses Google to find addresses. So just start the address and pick the one that you need. The system allows each employee to have two addresses. One is their tax residence or their tax address. So whatever they use as their primary residence is what will trigger our system to tell us and you what your employer tax obligations will be, because it's all geographically located and then assigned. Mailing address is just where their W-2 is going to go, or any other their paper checks. If they're getting paper checks, that's what's going to print on there. So we'll just hit next. Then you have to define or tell us and what you want them to be paid. So you have the templates that we saw in the company settings. And if one of those isn't what you want, then you just create a new one right here on the fly. What I'm going to do is go back to using a template. We'll delete that one. I'm going to delete that one. And we'll just say that's what it is. And you can see the default wage comes across as 0 because that's what it was set up in the company. If you have, say, a server rate that you always want to use of, say, what is it here in Florida? $7.98, I think right now is the tip wage. If that's what you want to use, you just put that in and it'll pre-populate. So then you would just hit accept. So I'm just going to put $7.98 for this one. And each time there is an earning code for an employee, because taxes are geographically assigned, you do need to assign where that work is being performed at. If you have more than one location, in this case, we do, you just have to pick which one it is. If you only ever have one location, it's going to default to that location. So you actually won't even have to pick it. It'll just show up. So we'll just hit next. And when is this person going to get paid? If you have just one, you pick it. If there's more than one, pick the one that applies to that particular person. Again, if they have a role or title you want to add, you can do that. Then you have the opportunity to review it. We're going to hit submit on this. It's going to take us to one more section of onboarding type information. And you can choose to do this now or skip it and do it later. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through it. If there are deductions or garnishments or contributions, you would set that up now. I'll go ahead and skip. If you have a paid time off policy, you could set up that policy here. And because there isn't one set up, it's saying you got to create a new one. Same with the earning codes. If you have some of those, it'll say use a template. Work schedules. This is a feature that is relatively new, and it will help you to define, I'm going to just say create a new one. How many hours full-time work is it? How many full-time hours in a day? And what is your work week? What's the day start with? So we'll just say Sunday to Saturday, typical for a lot of our clients. The reason we have this is particularly in California with the clients that are out there, 8 hours, anything over 8 hours in a day is considered overtime. And there are some, believe it or not, that they consider 7 hours and 35 a full-time work week, and any hours over that would be considered overtime. So you don't have to use this, but you can if you want to. All right, so I'm just going to skip that for now. How is this person going to get paid? We'll just say direct deposit. They've got to accept the terms of the direct deposit agreement. Hit next on that. This is going to, we'll see this. No, actually, this is going to take a little bit to load. Demo is very slow with this, but it's going to go out and actually, we subscribe to a service that allows you and or your employee to go through the questionnaire and then figure out what they need on their W-4. And that will be the current W-4 that's approved by the IRS as of right now. So they're loaded up. And we're going to go next right here. The forms is the same, where you can actually upload those forms that you have. If you've taken a snapshot of somebody's driver's license, I-9, social security card, you can upload those here. This is where you'll add their bank account. So again, you can't get a routing number wrong. It's best to always have a copy or a picture of a physical voided check or a used check, so you can see the exact routing number and the account number. So you'll put that in, select what it is, what's checking or savings. That's never use that. That's actually going to be gone by April the 3rd. So it's just going to be checking your savings. We save that one. And what's the start date? Now, this is actually, of this entire list, the pay method and the the start date are the only two that are actually required. So I'm just going to put in this person started 2023. We're going to hit next, and I'm a minute over. I'm almost done. So thank you very much for hanging out. That employee is now added. We can exit, and we can see that crazy name is going to be in this list somewhere. I don't even remember there it is. Crazy name. So now in our list, we can click on that person, and anything that we didn't previously put in, if we need to, we can go in here and edit that particular person's stuff. Okay, so we've looked at the company, we've looked at how to set some of the pay schedules and the earning codes, the bank, the employee, how to add one, how to edit their setups, and then how to run a payroll. Does anybody have any questions that they'd like to type in that we can answer right now? And as you may or may not be doing that, I'm going to go over to this tab. So this is what your employees will see when they log in. They have the option. Now there's no history here because demo environment, and it's me actually. So we didn't create any past paychecks for me, but they'll get a list of all their paychecks. They can click it and then print them as a stub, or just view them. Depending on what the settings are, will determine in the company side. So over here, let's just look at that company setting. So we have payment method. So depending on what is selected here, will determine what an employee is allowed to modify. If you have direct deposit only, they can only have direct deposit, and it will require them to complete their bank account setup. So then again, they can put in they can have as many bank accounts as they want. So if you had somebody that wanted 5 different bank accounts to split their paycheck into, have at it. It will go in. What you see here is the processing order. So as I add more accounts, it'll continue to run through that process until such time as there's no money left for it to divvy up. That's pretty straightforward and simple. They can go in here and modify their address, both primary and mailing. Now, the catch there is if they change their primary address to a taxing jurisdiction that you're not already in, the platform is going to say, hey, you owe taxes somewhere. What's the account number? What's the rate? And I think, well, in demo, we don't have it set up. In live production, should that happen, you can actually deactivate that state completely and ignore it. That happens a lot down here when people move away. So if because they have access to this, they can go in and modify that. And if they're inactive as an employee of yours, it won't trigger anything. But if they do that prior to actually leaving your employment, it could trigger the tax ID to go and say, oh, wait a minute, you now owe in Michigan or California or Texas or wherever it may be. They can go in and modify their withholding statuses. So somebody comes and said, hey, I need to add a dependent. They can do that themselves right here. And they can go through, they can walk through that questionnaire to generate their W-4 as well. This is where they can actually go see anything that's been uploaded for their tax documents. And then, of course, they have the list of their W-2s that they've had with you. Over the course of the next few months, the previous W-2s, we will regenerate those. So those will be available to your employees. That's pretty cool. Their entire history is also going to be available. When we migrate them over, they go in and look at paychecks, all those past paychecks are going to be here. So if it was last month and somebody says, hey, I got to validate my employment, I need a pay stub because I'm getting a car or going into a new house or an apartment, they'll be able to log in and get it, and they don't have to bug you for it. Okay, that is all I have time for. And I went, oh, not too bad. I only went 5 minutes over today or this session. So again, as we migrate you over, you're going to get an email that says you're now in control. You'll have the username and password sent to you as well. And then you can log in, and when that happens, we're going to be moving you right over. And so payroll will now be processed in this platform versus QuickBooks. And so you can either continue on and have us do it like you've been. If you have anybody that's on kind of the set it and forget it, where they're automatically paid a salary, we'll take care of that for you as well. Then if you can think of anything, put it in the chat or unmute yourself if I've forgotten anything for now. So far, he hasn't unmuted or put anything in the chat to let me know I've forgotten anything in 6 attempts. So I guess I must be doing a half decent job. All right, cool. I'm just looking at my list. All right, I think that's it for tonight. Again, as you get that email, you need some help or you want some help, then by all means, reach out to us. We are here to make this as painless and as simple and as easy as possible. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have yourselves a great night and look out for your email. That's coming in the next 10 days, if not overnight. Okay. Bye.